Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. My name is Brandon Jones, Executive Director of Next Step Education Foundation and the author of the award-winning College Readiness 101 Workbook Series. Here to partner with the Stephen Marjorie Harvey Foundation for our first of four college-bound virtual sessions. I'm very excited to connect with you this evening. We'll be talking about the college selection process and how to prepare for your high school to college transition. So we hope that you are getting ready for a phenomenal opportunity to get some nuggets, get some information, be able to assist you on your journey. So just a couple of opening announcements, just a couple of things that you should know. While you are on this Zoom call with us, there are two things that you will need to see. So at the bottom of your Zoom, you will see the chat box. So the chat box is where you're going to send a couple of responses throughout this presentation when I ask you for a couple of answers. This is where you'll put that information. But also at the bottom, you'll see a Q&A option. That's where you will ask any questions that you have. So Ms. Caleb from the Harvey Foundation will read off your questions throughout the program. I'll pause throughout the session. And at the end, we'll have a robust Q&A session for you who are attending. Okay? So let's go ahead and in the chat, let us know where you're coming from. I want to know where you're coming from. Put your city in the chat. I like to just see where everybody is visiting us from so that we can connect and see where we are having a reach. So in the chat, go ahead and just put in where you are visiting us from. And we'll see. Or we'll just put the poll up. Diallo, can you put the poll up to ask everybody where they are coming from? If you could, just take a few minutes to just fill this poll out so that we know where you're coming from and who is in the room with us. We'll try to see where they're coming from. We'll just give you a few minutes. Go ahead and fill it out. It should take you about 20 seconds. We'll give you about another 10 seconds. Go ahead and complete this poll. Then at the end, we'll see the results and find out where everybody is from and who is in the room. So Diallo, we'll just give them a few more seconds and you can let us know what our results are. All right, so let's see. We got grade levels. So we have a lot of juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. All right, all right. Well, that's good to know. They're most excited to learn about college life after high school. All right, we do have some that are going to be starting a career. We have a few that want to explore the world, so maybe a gap year, building a business, a few entrepreneurs in here, and we got a few that just aren't sure yet. Okay, and that's fine, and that's fine.
And hey, Brandon, I'm
Um,
gonna read off some of the cities people put in. So we got Richmond, Texas, Indianapolis, Baltimore, Maryland, Charlotte, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Sandy Springs, Douglasville, Conyers, Jersey, College Park, Philly, Boston, Baltimore. So we got people from a lot of different places.
from all over, and from the Metro Atlanta area as well. So if you are in Georgia, go Dogs. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. We found out kind of where you're from. Thank you so much for joining us from around the country. Thank you so much. Um, we'll go ahead and get started with our student panel. So we have a couple of students who are going to be a part of this conversation tonight. They'll be your voice as students to be able to represent, the student's perspective. So I'll go ahead and we'll start with Jamar. I see you first. So Jamar, you'll be the first person. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, first off, I just want to thank you guys so much for having us. How y'all doing today? My name is Jamar Crawford. I'm an actor, filmmaker, producer, content creator. I am a 12th grader at Utopian Academy for the Arts, and I plan on going to college to pursue a career as an actor in the film and TV industry.
All right, Jamar, thank you so much for joining us. Gavin, I see you next.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Gavin Pittman. I am a producer, director. Um, I've been with the foundation for going on 5 years now, and I work with the AV side and also the mentoring side. I attend Utopian Academy for the Arts, and next year I'm planning on going to Morehouse College.
All right, Gavin, thank you so much for being a part. And last, we have you here, Harry. You can go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
Nice to meet you all. My name is Harry Payton. I'm a senior at Tottenham for Arts High School. I am a producer, a cameraman, an editor, a coder, a student athlete, and I don't have a set college yet on my mind, but whichever one shall help me decide my future I'm going to attend.
Thank you so much, Harry. I really appreciate it. All right, well, we'll go ahead and begin this conversation, this presentation and conversation. Remember, everybody, if you have questions, please put it in the Q&A section at the bottom of your Zoom screen. All right, so this presentation is all about the high school to college transition. Again, I am your host, Brandon Jones, Executive Director of Next Step Education and author of the College Readiness 101 Workbook Series. Content creator, podcaster, YouTuber, all things college and career readiness. My background is in college admissions and recruitment, student services, and student retention. So before we begin, I want you to know that all of my presentations and every time I speak with students and parents, we want to make sure that you understand that everything we talk about today is helping you make meaningful or have meaningful conversations with your parents or trusted adults in your life, right? So everything starts with a conversation. So if you have a pen and paper, go ahead and grab it. If you don't have it, go ahead and grab it. If you have a notes app on your phone, go ahead and start a new notes. We want to make sure that you get these nuggets and that you can document them so that you can have these meaningful conversations at home, okay? All right. So in this presentation, we are going to identify your aptitude, your experience and interest in post-secondary education. We are going to explore pertinent aspects of the college selection process. That's kind of the really big meat of today. And then we're going to create a strategy or a course of action to help you along your journey. This is going to be very important because you don't know where you're going unless you know where you are, right? And so we want to make sure that you have a strategy and a plan to assist you along the way, okay? All right. So let's start off with a quick conversation. I'll grab you, Jamar, since I see you first. We are looking at, as a student who is kind of looking for a college, selecting a college, going through that college shopping process, kind of what are, from this list, kind of the top 3 things that would help you make a decision on what college you would want to attend? Kind of what are your decision-making drivers here?
Well, I know one of the main ones for me that I see now are the programs and majors for me. And I say that because being that I'm very big on training, I'm very big on the type of education that I can get. So one of the main things that I look for is I'm looking into a program that I could get the best education from, the one that I can get the best of things that maybe I don't know or learn things that I may not have known before. And I know that for sure, of course, tuition and pricing, living arrangements, and a few of those things as well.
All right. So that's a big one, right? So programs and major, does the college even have what you want to study, right?
Right.
Like you're going to college to study something. We want to make sure that it is there at that college. You said tuition and price, that's a huge one for families. We want to make sure that you can afford to go to that college. And then living arrangements. So when I was in college, we had our dorms where it looked like a hotel, right? And so
Okay.
all of the hotel rooms were down the hall and our bathroom was like smack dab in the middle, right? And so you had to leave your hotel dorm room, right? And you had to walk down with your towel on and your loofah, your rag, and you had to go down to the community bathroom to take a shower. Most colleges don't have those anymore. So would you consider that type of a living arrangement, or would you want more of an apartment style operation?
And I think that's exactly why it's very important that housing and those type of things are very much accommodated. I definitely like a bit of my own personal space, especially, we're spending school, a lot around a lot of people. Sometimes I want to come home at the end of the day and just kind of decompress and be to myself a little bit. So I would want that own kind of space. That's a lot. So I'm glad that we have some things that are different now. So yes, that's one of the things that I will be looking into as well.
All right. All right. Well, I definitely understand that. So if you are attending and watching, look at this list. Try to see kind of what your top three like decision makers are going to be. I'll ask you, Harry, since I got you next right here. On this list, for you and your parents, what do you think would be some of the decision makers for you that you would consider? What would be important for your decision?
As I agree with Jamar, programs would definitely be a big factor for me. If you don't have what I want to base my future off of, I can't attend your college. Tuition, because schools are expensive, and that's kind of a big factor. And school plus class size, because a big college, you won't be known there by your professors or won't be known around your school. And I feel like being known by your school can help with your network. And also, it's not a big thing for me, but distance from home, I'm kind of a family man. So if I'm far away from my family, I'm gonna feel homesick and realize they can't help me if I have big problems I can't handle by myself.
Right. Oh, I got that. So being that you are here in the state of Georgia, it sounds like you won't be going too far. You might want to stay in state to one of the institutions here in the state. Is that correct?
While it's supposed to I plan for it not to happen. I wouldn't per se care, as I have a few college options outside of Georgia that are 13 to 14 hours away, but not my main priority, as I want to stay close to my family.
Got you. Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. So one of the things I want everybody to understand in these decision-making drivers is a couple of things. One, you want to also look at freshman amenities. This is one of the big things because every college has different freshman amenities. Sometimes a college may say freshmen have to stay on campus or have to stay in a certain dorm on their campus. Sometimes, because a campus space, freshmen may not be able to bring a car. So if you're a driver right now, you may not be able to take your car to your campus. Or what other options are there for freshmen? So you really want to take a look at that. And then for those parents who may be watching, you want to also look at crime and safety. And so one of the things that you really want to pay attention to is your college's Clery report. That's CLERY. The Clery report will show colleges have to provide it. It's a public document. They have to produce it every year in October. And what they have to do is to show what are the crimes that were on or adjacent to the campus. And so that's one of the things you really want to look at. And obviously, crime is everywhere. And you would probably have, an uptick in crime if you were in a city setting, versus a rural setting for a college. But you definitely want to make sure that you are looking at that crime and safety. And then lastly, we are after COVID, so you want to look at course delivery options. Most colleges are offering, daytime, afternoon, evening, a weekend, and online courses. So you definitely want to look at that. Okay. All right. We'll go to the next. So as a recruiter, these are the things that I was looking for when looking at a holistic approach to college applicants, right? And so some students are going to be applying to colleges that are a little more traditional, a lot of numbers based on your performance. But there are many, many, many colleges that have gone to the holistic approach. And that means they're not just looking at your test scores or your GPA, but they're looking at a kind of a well-rounded student, right? They want to look at you all around. So as a college recruiter, the things that I was looking for was your academic profile one. Obviously, you have to be able to get in. So we want to look at your GPA. We want to look at your course rigor. Are you taking any rigorous courses? Did you take any honors or AP or dual enrollment or IB courses? Did you challenge yourself as a high school student to be able to show yourself that you're a little different set yourself apart from your other classmates? And then are you meeting the required credit to graduate from your high school and to get into the college? So Gavin, I see you there. I know for a fact you told me before that you had taken some AP courses before. What was that like for you at your school?
I would say it was a little challenging at first, right? Growing up in an environment where there's a lot of different students and one teacher in a classroom is hard, right? I would say my biggest thing was trying to adapt. There were, I believe, 50 students in that class with me, and everybody needed help. This was our first AP course as coming into high school. So everybody needed help. But I would say my biggest thing was having those people that I can go and speak to outside of school. Tutoring, I set up tutoring classes. I went to some teachers that were even at my middle school and got them to help me. So having, that community, I would say, to help.
Okay. Absolutely need that. And so an AP course is designed to prepare you for what a college course is like, right? And
Right.
one of the biggest concepts of a college course is you can't do it yourself. You have to build that community. You have to be able to have study sessions and study groups and connections and network because you can't do it on your own. And that's exactly what an AP course is designed to do. Okay. Additionally, we want to look at your standardized test scores. Now, here's a thing that you need to know. There are a lot of colleges that have become test optional or test blind for admissions. And what that means is they're not actually using your test scores, your standardized test scores, as a component of decision making for you to get into the college for admissions, right? And so look at your top 5 colleges, find out if they are test optional or test blind. It doesn't necessarily help you or hurt you, but you want to make sure that you can find out if they are test optional or if they're test blind. Now, that does not mean that test scores are not used for money. So for scholarships at their college or for scholarships for local, state, regional, national scholarships, some actually may still ask for test scores. So don't think test scores are going away, right? You absolutely still need them for a lot of scholarship funders, and you may need them for scholarships at your top college. Cool. All right. Extracurricular activities. So if you are a senior, what are your school and non-school related activities? Are you playing a leadership role? So if you are an athlete, are you a captain on the team? If you're in the band, are you first chair, second chair? Or if you are in a club, are you an officer? So I'll ask you, Jamar, since I got you here, what is your extracurricular activities like?
So my extracurricular activities is something that I play a big part in, and something that I enjoy doing as well. I know I TA a lot at my school, which is something that we call a teacher's assistant. So once I've completed a specific course, I always come back and for example, my acting class taught by Tanya Jackson is a class that I TA a lot for, which is me, coming in and volunteering and helping out the students, whether that be with scene work, whether that be with monologues, or helping them with auditions or any of the things that we may be working on in the class. I also participated in a lot of community events of things that I may have done before, and now I'm coming back to help the other upcoming students or other upcoming contestants with competitions, with being a youth artist as well. So just being able to stay in the community and always helping out is something that I'm very big on, and something that I also do a lot of as well.
Okay. All right. So that's great. So what he's showing us is that he's very involved on campus. And remember, you don't have to be involved in all these different things, right? If you can find what your interests are, grow in those things, that actually looks really good as well. Not just having a whole bunch of clubs on your student resume just to have a whole bunch of clubs on your student resume, right? Number 4, recommendation writers. Who is writing your recommendations and what are they saying? So that's a big thing for us. We want to know somebody who can speak to your academic ability, your work ethic, not your parents, not a family member, not your friend. We want somebody who can speak to you, who you are, and how you can make my college better, right? And lastly, we want to look at your storytelling, your essays, right? This is the way that I can get to know who you are if I wasn't able to meet you, right? And so a lot of recruiters are going to meet you on paper. They may or may not get a chance to meet you face to face. So we want to be able to articulate who you are, things you've been through, obstacles you've overcome, what you want to do in life, what you want to do on a college campus. This is how we meet you. And so we definitely want to make sure that you are writing your essays right. So I want to pause for a second. I wanted to ask you, Kayla, are there any questions in the Q&A chat? Because if there are, I wanted to pause and go ahead and answer a few. But if there aren't any, then we'll go ahead and continue on with the presentation.
Brandon, we can continue at this time. There aren't any questions in the chat right now.
No questions in the chat. Now, again, if you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the Q&A section so that we can get those questions answered for you before we leave this evening. All right. All right. What I got for you, Harry, must-haves and deal breakers. So when I talk with students, we talk about the extremes. So we talked about kind of what's ideal for you, tuition and price. We talked about distance from home. Did they have the program? But I also like to know a little bit about the extremes. So the must-haves are the college must have this or must provide this for you to go to that college. Or the deal breakers are if they don't have this, if they don't provide this, I am absolutely not going to that college. It is not the college for me. So I'll ask you, Harry, do you have any must-haves? Do you have any deal breakers for the colleges for you?
So not a crazy must have, but for me a must have some sort of athletic experience for me.
Okay.
As I do enjoy sports and some sort of activity to keep me distracted or to waste energy on. It don't have to be physical, but whether it's track or just a certain club I can join. Now, I don't have no deal breakers currently on hand, but I guess that's the only must have I have.
All right, that's perfect. Gavin, any must-haves or deal breakers for you and your college?
I would say my must-have would have to be a film program, right?
Okay.
That's definitely a must-have. I wouldn't say I have any deal breakers, but something that I make me second guess is the distance. So how far it is away from my home.
For you, you would rather stay closer. Is that what I'm understanding? And then go further? Okay.
I would like to stay a lot closer.
Okay. All right. Jamar, any must-haves or deal breakers for you and the college that you're going to select?
Must-haves for me, I think I continuously always say I'm very, very big on community. How are we together around? Because I'm very big on rejoicing with one another, the community of the people that I'm going to be in class with. So that's something that I look a lot into is how is the student life at the campus or the college that I'll be attending. But a deal breaker for me, I love when my teachers are teaching us from experience. So I think a deal breaker is if I have a teacher who's not really involved in the industry, but they may have some type of education in the industry. They may have went to school for it, but they're not really in it. Like we don't have teachers that are not working in the industry or in the business, but they're teaching us. So I think a deal breaker for me would be not having a teacher that is experiencing the things that once I leave this college, I want to go out and experience for myself.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense, especially for somebody who's studying the arts. I can absolutely see that being your answer. If somebody is, did you get the technical aspects and learning the concepts of it, or did you actually do it? Right? Can you teach me what it's like by actually your experience?
Because to me, I feel like also it informs how the type of education that we get as well. You know what I'm saying? It definitely plays a big part in that for sure.
I totally get that. Great answer. Great answer. Great answer. All right. So it looks like I'll pause for a second. It looks like we had a question by a student by the name of Sinai asked, can you use the same essay for multiple applications? So I'll just pause real quick because I'm going to get on a soapbox for a second. Great question, Sinai. The answer is yes and no. All right. So yes, you can use the same essay. If the questions are similar, you can kind of just do small edits, make sure that the essay that you are writing is actually answering the prompt of the essay application. So as long as you're answering the prompt, yes. But no, because you need to make sure you are not sending the same essay, the same exact essay, to multiple scholarship funders. Meaning, I am a scholarship funder. Next Step Education gives scholarships to students around the country. I do not want to see an essay for Next Step Education addressed to the Stephen Marjorie Harvey Foundation, right? So that's one of the things that will make me throw your essay in the trash, right? Because you didn't do enough research or enough where you didn't have enough wherewithal. You're not looking at the details enough to say, you know what, I need to show a little bit of respect to this funder, and I want to make sure that I'm addressing it to them, answering their question correctly. So it's a yes and no. But so I would just say this: you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If there are several essays with similar topics, go ahead, use the basis, the foundation, the skeleton of your essay concept, but make sure you are answering that scholarship funder's prompt correctly. Cool. Hopefully that answers your question. All right. We'll continue on. So now here are the action steps, right? So this is going to be your plan building. So if you have a notepad, this is where you're going to want to start writing things down. If you have a notes app on your phone, this is where you're going to start typing. You want to make sure that you can identify the steps to college preparation, especially if you are a sophomore or junior. This is when you really want to start paying attention right here, okay? All right, so the first thing that you're going to do for your steps to college preparation is identify where you stand. We will then increase your profile attractiveness. We will go on an exposure and research expedition. We'll connect with access points. I'll tell you about what an access point is. And then we will execute your education plan. So let's get on that first one, is identifying where you stand. Next slide, please. So identifying where you stand. All right. So like I told you before at the beginning, if you don't know where you are, you don't know how to get to where you're trying to go. So the first thing you're going to want to do is know what you look like on paper. What would a college recruiter see if I was to apply? I need to know what I look like. So you should get a copy of your transcripts. Find out what your GPA is, find out which classes you've taken, what are your weak classes, what are your strong classes. Anything that a college recruiter or a decision maker would be able to see about you, you need to know what it is, right? Number two, you want to make sure that you can speak to your counselor. You want to have a great relationship with your counselor. Be one of the students that goes and speaks with them once a week, once every other week. You want to make sure you build that relationship with your counselor, because a lot of counselors have large caseloads, 200, 300, 400, 500 students on their caseload. So they can't actually work one-on-one with everybody. So you want to be one of the ones that they know. So when they go on a college visit or when they get information, oh, Jamar, I remember Jamar. He comes and talks to me all the time. I found out about this school. I found out about this scholarship. He's going to be one of the ones I share this with, versus, Joe Brown, right, who only comes to once a semester, once a year to speak with them. He or she may not really have that relationship with them. So you definitely want to make sure you build that relationship with your counselor. And then number three, in identifying where you stand, ask your teachers how your grades are looking. How can you increase your grades? How can you, if there's any extra credit opportunities, you want to make sure you're putting the best foot forward. And so building that relationship with your teachers is also what you would want to do. So first of all, in this process, number one, identify where you stand. That should be something that you have written down in your notes. Identify where you stand is the first step to a college preparation journey. Cool? All right. Number 2, we want to make sure that you are beginning to increase your profile attractiveness. So you need to create a student brag sheet. So to bring up Jamar again, he told us that he was a part of this, and this. He was a TA. He's helping students do this. He's being in and helping students build their confidence and understanding of what it's like to be an artist student, a student artist. And so you got to be able to create a brag sheet, right? Gavin said he was taking AP courses and he wants to be a film student. They got to have a film program for his college. You want to make sure you're starting to build a brag sheet so that you understand what you've done and that college recruiters or any other decision maker can see what you've done. So on a brag sheet, you would have your GPA and your test scores and any extracurricular activities and leadership roles, any awards you have received, or accommodations or experiences that you've had. You want to make sure that you can centralize this into one place so that when you start applying for scholarships, when you start applying for admissions, you have somewhere that has all of this information at one time, right? It's like a student resume. You want to make sure that you have all of that in one place. Number 2, for increasing your profile attractiveness, you want to become more active and begin playing a leadership role in your extracurricular activities. One of the scholarships that I give, and on some of the scholarship, I am a scholarship. I'm on the roll to view others' scholarships, right? So I'm a scholarship funder, but I'm also on boards to look at other scholarships. And so leadership is one of the biggest things, right? Do you have leadership skills? There are leadership scholarships. There are leadership opportunities. So we want those individuals to have leadership roles. So make sure that once you're getting older, once you're, your junior, your senior year, you are playing leadership roles in your extracurricular activities, okay? And then lastly, you want to seek out experiences worth sharing. So do you have an experience worth sharing? Did you go somewhere and experience something new in another country, in another city? Did you go on a trip with your class or with your band or with your team? Did you make it to a state game or a state performance? Did you build any experiences in the community, right? Do you have something worth sharing? So that's number 2. You want to make sure you increase your profile attractiveness for those individuals who are going to make decisions on either your admissions or if they're going to give you some money. Cool. All right. Number 3. This is where the shopping happens. This is the fun part. All right. So exposure and research. So this is where you're going to start comparing characteristics of your top college choices, apples to apples. You got to go on college visits. You got to go to college fairs. You got to speak with recruiters, meet and greets. You got to be able to get as much information as possible. So I'm going to ask you, Jamar, Gavin, and Harry, when you're seniors now and you're graduated seniors, you're second semester seniors, what was your college fairs and college visits process like? I'll start with you, Harry. What was it like when you started going to college fairs, and what colleges have you visited so far?
So I haven't been to a lot of college fairs, only 2 that I recall.
Okay.
And my first college fair, it was a lot for me, kind of know what to do. I went to every college trying to get information, not knowing I should prioritize the one that I see myself really going to.
Well, there's a
That
lesson.
was, and more so when I attend colleges now, which I more so try to look at I can see if I can imagine my life here. Like if I can imagine, hey, I can imagine going to this class. I realize how far classes are far from each other, the space of the building and the security and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Gavin, what about you? On your college fairs and college visits journey, what was that like? What did you learn?
Um, I done more visits than fairs. So two colleges, really the only two colleges that I have visited was Clark Atlanta and Morehouse. The biggest things that I looked for was the Greek life. That's something that I've been interested in from the beginning of middle school, because something that is special to Utopian is most of our teachers are a part of the D9, right?
Okay.
So that's something that I've been interested in, and I look at that. I go to these schools and I want to learn more about it. But I also look at what are classes set up like? Are the classes easy to come into? Are people struggling? Like, I like to be able to go and sit inside of the class just for like maybe a session. I have sat in some science classes, some business economics classes, just to see what are the classes set up. How easy is it? What are students struggling in? That way I know to be prepared for certain things.
Okay. All right. So Gavin talked about the Divine Nine, the historically Black fraternities and sororities. It is a huge aspect of a college experience for those individuals who want to be a part of a fraternity. I personally am a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. We are doing a lot of things in the community. We do service. We do the best parties on our campus.
Right.
We are doing community service. We are helping out. And so, and we give scholarships. I am the scholarship chairman for my chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi, and it has been a lifelong commitment for me. All right. Jamar, what was your college fair and college visits process like?
Yeah, so I think the same thing, kind of like what Gavin said. I did a lot more college tours rather than college fairs. But I know for sure one of the main things that I look for when I'm going through is just like that feeling, like when you go onto a campus, you're like this, okay, well, this is kind of like I feel like this is for me. So when so for sure, I know I will be in New York in February to go visit the college, one of my top colleges of my choice. But one of the things that I do mainly look for are the classes and what am I getting out of these classes. I know if I know I want to go to a specific school to be an actor, if I want to go to a school to be an engineer, if I take these classes, am I going to get the education that I need out of them? So when I'm going into these college tours, I like to look at the curriculum in these classes and see what is offered. You know what I'm saying? And what kind of opportunities can I get out of these classes?
Absolutely. And that's the important thing, right? So, yes, you're going to learn a lot of things about yourself, who you are, what you're willing to deal with. If you're a morning person, can you take an 8 o'clock a.m. class? Do you need to be in the afternoon? But you got to study something, right? You got to come out with an education. And so that's a great point right there. You got to know what's being offered and is it going to be able to assist you? Is it what you're looking for? All right. Perfect. All right. On to number 4. Connecting with access points, right? So an access point is a person or an organization that can assist you with your journey. They can connect you with either information or opportunities. And so even coming here to this event for the Harvey Foundation, this college-bound virtual series is going to assist you, right? The Harvey Foundation is an access point, right? So meet with the counselors about your goals, right? If you can connect with your counselor or your graduation coach or your college and career person at your high school, make sure you connect with them, see how they can assist you with your goals, right? Create opportunities to speak with college recruiters, right? You don't just have to wait for them to come to your school. You can actually reach out. Most colleges have their college recruiters divided into territories, right? And so if you are in the state of New York, Spelman College may have like a recruiter who covers North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, right, or Tennessee. And that's the person that you would be assigned to. That's the person who would be reading your application. Or if you are in, let's say, the state of Georgia, and you were looking to go to Georgia State, there may be a Clayton County and a Fulton County recruiter, like they're in that territory. So it can be within your state or in multiple states, but find out who the recruiter is where you are and connect with them, right? And then you want to seek assistance from your coaches, advisors, and anybody else who can assist you with that, right? So club advisors, either your graduation coach or your sports coach, band director, somebody who can assist you and connect you with information and opportunities. Cool? So make sure you connect with access points. All right. And lastly, you want to create an education plan and you want to execute it, right? So strategically plan out a course of action. So as seniors, in your fall semester, I would say I need to complete, all 15, 10, 12 of my college applications. I'm going to apply for the Common App or the Common Black College app so I can apply to multiple colleges. I'm going to go to so many college fairs. I'm going to go on so many college visits as a junior. Like, you need to really strategically plan it out, right? You want to tackle your goals one bite at a time, and you want to continuously assess and reassess your progress, right? So that's what you want to do on creating your education plan. All right, we'll continue on. One of the things I want you to understand, this is really, really big, right? You want to meet me at the intersection of match and fit. So in the state of Georgia, we have a program called Georgia Match. And the Department of Education will send each student, graduating senior, each senior, a letter. And it says here, in the state of Georgia, these are the colleges that you match with. And the match is a college that you match with is based on their requirements, their academic rigor, like your academic profile. That's a match. So a match school may be Harvard for some students. A match school may be the University of South Carolina for some students. A match college may be like Atlanta Technical College for some students. It doesn't matter. It depends on the student, but it's a match based on your academic profile and who you are academically. But you also want to consider the fit, and that's kind of the character or the culture of the school, right? Do you want to go to a HBCU, right? Because that is something that your family has a tradition in doing, or you wanted to have the Black college experience, or you like Black college football, or you're a cheerleader and wanted to be a part of a Black squad for a HBCU, or a band for an HBCU, right? Or do you want to go to a big predominantly white institution and wear letters on your chest at a football game, right? Or for our film students, do you want to go to a school that would put you on projects for mainstream movies or shows that are being produced in the area, right? So it's kind of like the fit and the match. That's the intersection you want to be at, because if you don't do that, you can it's a non-compatibility process, right? And it could cost you more money and more time and more effort, right? So you can go to the next slide, Diallo. That's where that non-compatibility comes in, right? So these are the different colleges. These plugs are the different colleges, right? And so you have to find the one that fits you, because if you have to transfer, all your classes may not transfer with you. You have to spend more money because you have to take those classes over again. You have to pay for them. You wasted your time, and a lot of times students will have a negative experience. Okay, so you definitely want to pick the college that best fits you. Cool, the first time, hopefully. All right, next slide. So here's where we are. So just to recap, we want to make sure that you are researching what programs and major your college is known for. So I talk to students all the time here in Georgia. Georgia Tech is known for STEM and business, right? I do not suggest students go to Georgia Tech and major in education, because you could find a more reputable, maybe a lower costing school with an education degree, right? Research your potential career options after college. So what is the next step, right? Create a list of pros and cons to help you make your decision. If you don't want to make this decision emotionally, you want to make it with your head, right? What makes the best business decision, the most logical financial decision? Was the best one for that, right? Try to get your education at the cheapest price point. That's what we were just talking about. Use your network to your advantage when you're seeking opportunities, and you have to do the work. There's no substitution for hard work, right? So that's where we're going to end right there. The next slide, I think, is the resources for College Readiness 101. if you are in Next Step Education, if you are interested in the College Readiness 101 workbook series or the grade level kits or the parent series, that's there for you at College Readiness 101. You can also get to it at Next Step Education. That's all me. And the next slide, I think, is just my contact information. So while you have my contact information here, I'm going to see if there was any other questions. Kayla, I think there was.
Yes, there were quite
questions
a
that you
few.
saw?
There were quite a few, Mr. Brandon. Should I read them to you?
Go ahead and read them. We'll go ahead and knock them out.
Awesome. Okay, so we have a student named Mason that asks, could one of his must-be's be his personal space?
His must-haves, his personal space. Yes, you want to make sure that you are in a position to whatever you need. If they have that opportunity to provide it, you want to make sure that you can do it. So maybe there is a opportunity for you to maybe stay off campus if you need to have that as your space is what you want to prioritize, right? So maybe you don't have to have a roommate, but it's going to cost more, right? Because if you're going to be by yourself, you're not splitting with anybody, right? So if your personal space is something that you want to prioritize, definitely do, but just know that it's going to cost a little bit more money.
Awesome. Okay, we have an attendee named Ari. She says she wants to be a veterinarian when she gets older, and she wants to know if you have any college recommendations for that career.
Well, if you're looking for an HBCU experience, I know Tuskegee is one of the top schools in graduating African American veterinarians. So I know that as soon as you said vets, I was thinking Tuskegee University. So I would absolutely consider that as one of the colleges for your program.
Awesome. Okay, so Xavier asked, are there honors classes in college?
Yes. Yes, there are. And so sometimes there's a whole honors college, right? So there are students who are taking classes that are honors level, or if you get accepted into an honors college at a college, that's really good. Usually that brings more scholarship funds for you. So that's something to consider as well. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, Selena asks, she says, I'm an 8th grader going to high school in September. Do exam invigilators or those who oversee exams mark you hard on your essays?
Yes. So there's a big difference between middle school and high school, right? So in middle school, your grades, I don't want to say they don't matter because they do, but they're not counted. They're not documented against you or for you, right? Once you get to high school, your first freshman class, the college recruiters or admissions departments, they're going to see what you made on it, right? And so it's documented absolutely from your freshman year, right? And so you want to put your best foot forward and you want to work on your essay writing, specifically for this question. Your essay writing is going to be one of the most important tools, one of the that you can kind of master, right? Because everything else is going to be about writing. When you go back to college, it's about writing. If you go get your master's, it's about writing. If you want to go get your doctorate, it's about writing, right? And so you want to be able to articulate yourself on paper. Scholarships and admissions essays, all of it is about writing. So that's one of the things you want to make sure that you can master.
Okay, so next we have an attendee named Treasure joining us from India. So Treasure would like to know is if international students are welcomed in scholarship opportunities.
Yes, sometimes. So a lot of times international students can come over to the United States, and a lot of times they actually do have to pay more in tuition and fees that other students don't. But every college has an international students department, and so you would want to make sure that you speak to that particular college's international student department to see exactly what opportunities they have for you at their college. So that's what I would tell you about that.
Okay, Layla asked, what are some good goals to have so that you can get in a good college?
Well, first of all, you want to get the highest grades that you can, right? And so you want to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward, getting the grades that you that you can get studying. Never take a SAT or ACT code. You always want to have some type of preparation before you go and take that test. Build out opportunities for your extracurricular activities that not, again, strategically, not just having a whole bunch of things on your resume, but also having something that's strategic. If you're interested in this, make sure that you're doing things around this, right? And then playing a leadership role, because you always want to take it back to that holistic approach for admissions. So if colleges are interested in a holistic approach for you, you want to make sure that you're hitting all of the different pillars. So the goals would be, make sure you're getting the best GPA that you can, because there's a financial aspect to that, scholarships, right? Get the highest test score that you can. There's a financial aspect to that, right? Your extracurricular activities kept you be well-rounded and could provide you scholarships. So you want to be able to hit it all together, right? Put all of the pieces of the puzzle together. So hopefully that answers your question.
Awesome. Sanai asks, is Match Fit in other states, or is it just located in Georgia?
So the Match Fit concept is just a universal concept. You want to find a college that matches you based on your academic profile, but you also want to find a college that fits you based on your culture or your experience that you want to have at the college, right? It's just in the state of Georgia, we have a program that's ironically called Georgia Match. And so that's what matches they send a letter of all of the colleges that you match with in the state of Georgia. Now, all states may not do that. But what I wanted to tell you is that the concept is a universal concept. Find a college that you match and fit with based on your academics and the experience you want to have.
Okay. Kanice says, is it true that getting a good score on the practice SAT can help get scholarships?
Yes. So the PSAT is generally in November, is the National Merit Scholarship testing date. And if you score, I think it's like the top 10%, you can actually get a National Merit Scholarship. So you would just have to find out when that National Merit testing day is. And if you score high enough, you can get a National Merit Scholarship. Yep.
All right, awesome. Hannah asked, how would double majoring work?
So it depends on the college, right? So you can have, and that's going to be part of our second session is majors, minors, and concentrations. We'll be talking, you can double major. It's going to take you a little longer because you have to take the classes associated with that second major, but you can absolutely double major in, major A and then major B. Just know that it'll just take you a little longer because you have to take the time to take those classes.
All right. And then we have Nicholas. He says, how do you find scholarships?
So there is a science and an art to finding scholarships, right? So as of right now, that's going to be our third session is financial aid and scholarships, but there are scholarship search engines. So bold.org, I think is the big one now. You still have scholarships.com, Going Mary. There are different scholarship engines that you can actually build a profile on, and they can send you scholarship opportunities. You also want to look at scholarships in your area for civic organizations, fraternities and sororities, your local banks, churches, and other organizations. And so the thing is about, and we're going to talk about this on the third session, is building out a funding plan. You need to make sure that you have opportunities in different things. So national scholarships, local scholarships. You want to look at opportunities for outside of the box ways of thinking of paying for your college education. And so there's a whole funding plan. And so we'll break that down in our third session.
And Mr. Brandon, we have 4 more questions, but I'm going to ask that everyone who's still with us as we go through the last questions, there's going to be a poll coming up on your screen now.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And you're just going to give us some feedback so that we can integrate those things into our upcoming 3 sessions. Our next session is going to be this coming Wednesday at 6 p.m., same time, and we'll make sure that we send out the links as well. So the poll is up on your screen now. And Mr. Brandon, the next question says, do I need to take dual enrollment or AP classes to get accepted into college?
You don't necessarily have to take dual enrollment or AP classes to get accepted into college. I will say that it looks good on your application, right? Because you've challenged yourself. So as a recruiter, if I had, let's say Jamar was a student who took AP courses, and he challenged himself with harder classes, and he has a 3.3. And then we have Harry, who is a student who didn't take any rigorous courses, but he has a 3.5, right? My choice would be to go with Jamar. If there was only one more spot left, I would have chosen Jamar as the student to accept because he's shown himself the ability to challenge himself and he was successful in a college level course. But it's not a requirement. It's just, it looks good. It gives you more points on the college admissions scale for decision making.
Okay. Josiah says, hi, Mr. Brandon. If I'm majoring in IT, is that considered a computer science major?
Yes. So it would be under like the College of probably Arts and Sciences, and it would probably be in the Computer Sciences department. Colleges are all set up differently, but that's probably how it's going to be set up. So yeah, it would be a computer science and maybe IT, maybe one of the programs in it. But colleges are set up differently. It may be set up where IT is the big umbrella and computer science is one of the majors in it. But they'll be together some kind of way in one of the colleges at the university. So it's like a college of education or a college of arts and sciences, a college of nursing, college of business, right? It'd be in one of the colleges associated at that college, at that university or institution.
Okay, so we have another question from Sholin. It says, does being in a lot of clubs in high school matter when you're trying to get in college?
Not really. And to be honest with you, it would be more effective if you were in fewer clubs with like more strategic planning for it, right? So you were interested in, let's say, HOSA because it's healthcare, and you wanted to be in healthcare administration, or you want to be a doctor, or you wanted to be a nurse or something like that. And like that's where your interests lie. And so that's where you focused. Like that's probably way better than being in HOSA and DECA and FBLA and some mentoring program at the school and this and that. And, without any leadership roles, you're just there, just having a name on it. That doesn't necessarily translate to college recruiters like you think it would, right? So you want to make sure that you are kind of honing in to what your interests are and make it meaningful more than just having a whole bunch of things that you got behind your name.
Awesome. And then the last question is from Jalea, or I'm sorry, it's from Ari again. It says, I want to be a real estate agent and a baker. So I was wondering if you have any recommendations for colleges for those careers and if I wanted to take business classes.
Yeah, I would highly, if you're going to go to college, because for both of those industries and professions, you don't necessarily have to have a college degree, right? But you would want to have some type of certification, right? So to be a real estate agent, you have to pass a test and you have to be certified, right, to be a real estate agent because you have to know the laws of your state. To be a baker, you would want to go to maybe a culinary school, right, to learn that skill. But you don't necessarily have to, right? But you would need to be like Save Surf certified, right, to be able to know that what temperatures you need to have your ingredients at to be safe to consume. Make sure that you know how to clean the utensils and tools in your kitchen. Like so it's not necessarily degree based. It's more about like the technical aspects of it, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. And then Hannah says really quickly before we wrap up, as our last few people are completing the survey, We have one from Hannah, and Layla says thank you for answering her questions, and that
No
you were
problem, Layla.
Mr. Brandon. So our last question from Hannah: what colleges are good for those who want to be a pilot and a psychologist?
So again, for a pilot, that's not degree based, right? And so it's about certification and the technical aspects of it. So there's some aviation programs. So a lot of technical schools. So here in Atlanta, we have Atlanta Technical College, and they have an aviation program, right? Or you can go to other colleges that are known for aviation. It's like that's the type of college that it is. That's something that you would want to consider, right? Because you're not going to get that in like a UGA or Georgia Tech or University of South Carolina, right? Or you will want to join the military, right, and get into the Air Force. I think psychology was that other one. Was the other one psychology?
Yes, she wants to be a psychologist.
Yeah. So psychology is generally offered like at almost all the colleges, right? So you can get a psychology degree almost anywhere, but generally you're going to have to attach it to something, or you're going to have to get a graduate degree to practice, right? And so you could be a psychologist and be like a criminal psychologist, all right, or a child psychologist, or a business psychologist. Like, what's the psychology of business, or sales, or human behavior as it relates to like packaging, and what do people think when they open up a package. So it's like different applications of psychology, but you can get psychology. I mean, most colleges offer psychology as a major.
Also, the last question from Zanaya says, what is a good college for a registered nurse?
Again, same answer. Nursing is almost everywhere. So from a technical college to a 4-year university, you can get a nursing degree because nurses are always needed. We all just went through a pandemic. We found out that nurses were, needed. They were, doctors were needed. They were essential workers. So you can find nursing almost anywhere, right? But you just want to make sure that you can pass that licensing test in your state. So you got to have a license, a certification to be able to practice in that industry. Since that was the last question, Kayla, I did want to remind everybody, I did want to tell seniors, if you are a senior on this call, make sure you come to all 4 of the sessions, because there may be some additional resources from the Harvey Foundation to be able to assist you in your high school to college transition. So if you are a senior, make sure you are attending our sessions, because there may be some additional resources coming your way, okay? And make sure that you are completing all of the surveys so we can get your information and connect with you, okay? And just so you know, our next session on January the 22nd, that's this Wednesday, we're going to be talking about majors, minors, and concentration. So we're going to be making the connection of the major that you select and how you can connect that to your career. On next week, January the 27th, we'll be talking about college funding, scholarships, and student financial literacy. So, things that you need to know, that's going to be a really big one. You definitely want to make sure you connect to that one. And then our last one on January 29th is going to be on the college first year experience. So it's going to be all about transitioning to a college campus and what to expect. Okay. So those are our sessions. I also want to remind everybody to follow me on Instagram at Next Step Education and at College Readiness 101. So that's at Next Step Education, at College Readiness 101. And you can follow the Stephen Marjorie Harvey Foundation on Instagram at harvey.foundation. I definitely want to make sure that you were able to connect with us on social media, okay? Any other questions that popped up, Kayla?
No, sir, we're all set.
Okay, all right. So I want to thank Jamar and Harry and Gavin for all of your help in having this conversation with us. And I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday so we can make a connection for your program to your career. for those individuals who's going to enjoy that session as well. So
Yes,
thank
sir.
you, everybody, for your participation.
Thank you guys again for having us. We really appreciate it.
We
All
appreciate you.
right, and
Thank you.
we'll see you next time.
All right. See y'all later.
See you later.